Hello everyone, Amod here from the Target Common YouTube channel, and I am here with another topic in this episode. In this video, we are going to learn about headers. Okay, so if you remember in previous example programs, we when we are doing the log.all, so we're getting like request header and response headers kind of things, right? But that time we have not discussed about that. What is that thing actually? So in this video, first we're going to learn what is header. Okay, what is header in an API, and then we learn how can we pass those headers in this SEO request. Okay, so let's see what is a header in API. So let me give you one real-time example. Like suppose in earlier when we used to write the letters, right, handwritten letters, then that time we need to put some name, then address, then pin code, something like that we give, right? So generally those information help the postman to deliver that letter, right? Because that represents some metadata of that letter, okay? To whom I need to deliver, from where it is coming, how to contact them, if any landmark is there, right? Similarly, in API also, we have headers which are actually metadata about the question response. Just for an example again, suppose in the post request we are passing a payload, right? So generally we can pass the payload in different format. It may be a JSON, it may be XML, it may be your multi-part, it may be your some HTML file, whatever it can be, right? So you remember there will be one header content type. Okay, that content type actually represent like which type of request payload you are sending. Okay, similarly we have different kind of information, like we can pass the authorization, we can pass the cookies, we can pass the proxy. There's so many things we can pass as a header. Okay, and there might be some headers which are automatically added to the API, and there are some headers which are explicitly we need to pass as per our requirement. Okay, so that completely depends upon the API development. But whenever we are hitting the any API, so we there will be some headers which will be sent with the API, and when we get the response, then also we'll get some headers. Okay, so it actually not all the headers we need to send, right? Because whenever we are hitting the request, automatically so required headers will be added. Okay, those headers will be like common across, means those are like uh, generally which represents some information by API. Okay, like if you're hitting the API in Postman, then they send some Postman token and then Postman session and all they send, right? So whenever you are hitting the API, it will automatically add some headers. Okay, and we also need to pass explicitly some headers. If you remember in this book, we are passing authorization as a header, right? So in short, headers are some information, or headers are metadata about the request and response. Okay, and it's nothing like that. Headers will be only for request. It can be for response as well. Okay, and any header can be a key value pair or key with multiple values. Okay, that means uh, if you when we are passing a header, that header may contain multiple values or multiple it can contain a set of values. Okay, so that headers can be called key multi-value headers. Okay, and when we have one key, one value of it, then we can simply call it key value pair. Okay, so these are the different ways we can pass the headers in this session. So we'll learn better if you go and do some practical, right? So that is always the best thing. So let's go and start adding the headers. How can we add headers in this episode? Okay, so I've opened my project here, which whatever I'm using for this YouTube series. Let me close everything. So here what I'm going to do, I'm not going to hit actual API. Okay, here I will simply show that how can we add the headers and how can we see that in console. Okay, so let me create a new class called headers example. Okay, and in this header example, what I will do, I will let you maximize it, and I will add a text. Okay, and I will give like public void passing header. Okay, or pass header. Okay, so let me import at paste annotation, and we know that we need to start from recessive class in recessive. Then we have given, and to pass headers, recessive provides a very multiple overloaded methods. Okay, but that we need to use um, properly. Okay, so I will explain that in which scenario, which type of overloaded method you need to use. Okay, so we have a method called header. Okay, so remember I use the recessive or recessive dot given. Okay, so means we are getting one request specification instance here, right? And I am setting the header for the request. Okay, so here you can see we have multiple methods. Okay, header and headers. Okay, so let's concentrate on header as of now. Okay, means this method. So here you can see we have two methods, two overloaded method called header, right? First one takes something called header type. Okay, another is something called string and object. So what happens actually here, suppose I want to pass a header called header one. Okay, header one, and I'm going to pass value one. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll simply do log.all. Okay, so that we can see how it is adding the headers. Okay, then I will call when, and I will simply call dummy method, right? Okay, I'm not worried about the actual API here. I just want to show you how can we add the headers, and how can we see in the console. Okay, simple. We have a header method. Okay, in this header method, we simply need to pass the key and value. Okay, key means the header name and the value of that header. Okay, so suppose if you want to pass the authorization as a header, then the key will be authorization. Then access token or whatever you want to pass, that will be value. Okay, so let me go and run it. Okay, so it's running, and you can see here, just see this part. Okay, I think I have already covered this local host and 8080 in my previous video. Okay, because that is the default base path and base URI. Okay, sorry, port number, default port number. 8080 is the default port number, and this is the base URI. Okay, so here you can see under the header section, we can see there's one header got added, that is header one and the value one. Okay, and this asset header is added by recessive. Okay, yeah, I said that every time we don't need to pass all the headers, because whatever tool we are using, so those tools will also add the required headers automatically. Okay, so here if I want to add any custom header, just need to use the header method and pass the value. Okay, I have already told that suppose I want to pass a header with multiple values. Okay, that is possible. Okay, so one header might have multiple values. So we need to pass the multiple values to it. So what we can do, if you see here, this header method, if you see the description or declaration syntax of this, we can see here object additional header values. Okay, means we can use the same method to pass multiple values of one header as well. Okay, that means I can use header, and suppose this will be header 2 and value will be value 1, value 2, value 3. Okay, that means we are now adding two headers. first header called header 1 and it has only one value called value 1. We have another header called header 2 and this header 2 has three values. Okay, so let me run this test now and we can see how it is adding the headers with multiple values. Okay, so here you can see header 1 value 1 and since header 2 has multiple values, right? Multiple values, so three rows we are seeing here because we are passing three values. Okay, so for each value, it will add a header. Okay, so by default, it will not be overriding. Okay, it will not overwrite the value. It will be merged. Okay, so there's another way of passing the header with multiple values. Okay, so what we can do, let me copy this. Let me copy this and let me put the pass header one. So suppose I want to pass the multiple values for header one only, right? So what you can do, you can call the header method again, okay, with the same key and pass the another value of that header. So what will happen in this case? This in this particular associated request, two headers will be added. Okay, and both the headers will have the same name, header one and header one, but value will be different. So whatever we did here, we pass the key and then we pass the multiple values. Same thing we can do it by calling the header method multiple times. Okay, so if I run it, you will get the same output. Okay, here you should be able to see it here. Header one, value one, and header one, value two, right? Right. So this is the way we can pass header with multiple values. Okay, so both the way we can use. Okay, I hope this will be clear for you. Now let me go and let me copy this test again. Okay, so if you see, we have overloaded header method, right, which we have seen. So let me do the control shift, right? You can see the first method called header and it takes a type of header actually. Okay, and second method we just used, but we have not seen the first one. So what is that actually? So actually we have a type called header, which is again one class, right? Okay, you can see this one, header. Okay, it is a class and we need to create an object of it. Okay, okay, and this header you need to pass the value, means header key and value means header one and value one, right? So we can create a header separately, right? Individually, I'm not adding, calling, or passing the value here. Maybe suppose you have some different utility from where you are creating the headers, okay, and you're getting from there. So you can create an object of this header, okay, header class, and you can pass the key value pair. And same header instance you can pass under this method, right? Here. Okay. So whatever we did here, we are passing the header key and value directly to the header method, right? But here we are creating an object of header class, okay, where the constructor of this header class takes the header name and header value, okay, and same header we need to pass it here. Means we need to call the header method, and since this header method is overloaded, we can pass the instance of this header. Okay, if I run this one, it will work perfectly fine. Right, we can see it is giving the header one and value one. Okay, I hope this should be clear for you. Now let's go and see some other methods as well. Pass headers 3. Okay, let me comment this one. So we have seen both the overloaded header method, right? Now if you see the, let's go to headers. Okay, what is headers actually? So let me go to the first this one. Uh, Let me go to this headers. Okay. So suppose we need to pass multiple headers, right? We need to pass multiple headers in our request, right? So there's one way, like you can call the header method again and again to pass the multiple values. Okay, multiple headers. Okay. Suppose if you need to pass h1, h2, h3, h4, then you have to call 4 times, right? Same method. Header, you need to call 4 times. But we have one method called headers. Okay, see, it is plural. Headers. Here you can pass multiple values, multiple headers. Okay, means like this one, h1, just to keep it simple, h1 v1. Okay, h2 v2. Okay, and h3 h3 v3, right? So we can pass multiple headers like this one. So this will be one key value pair. This will be another key value pair. This will be another key value pair. In short, it will be like key value, header name, header name, header value, like that. Okay. And if you see the definition of this one or declaration of this particular method, you can see it is the third one, header name value pair. Okay. So if I run this particular method, we'll see the same output. Okay, means same behavior, that we are able to add multiple headers. Okay, I hopefully you should able to see here h1, h2, h3. Now you might ask me, okay, I want to pass multiple values of one header, how can we do? If you think little, you can get the answer. Suppose I want to pass two values for h3, then I use the same key again. Okay, and pass the value here. Okay, let me run this one. Okay, so we can see this, we are able to pass multiple values to single header, right? Here h1 v1, h2 v2, s3 v3, and s3 v4. Okay, now let's see another overloaded method. You might feel that it is not a good practice to hard code the values like this. Suppose if you are passing the header and value from some different places, then and you want to keep those separate, right? So it's not good to hard code it here. So what you can do, there's another way you can do. You can create a map. Okay, create a map of string. Okay, then uh, let me use the hash map. Okay, and what you can do here, let me put 4. Let me import the hash map and all. Okay, so header map. Okay, so what you can do, you can add all the header in this header map, like header map dot put, like h1, then v1, right? And let me copy paste to save time. Okay, so it will be like h2, s3, v2, v3. And let me add another header with multiple values, right? For s3, we want to pass multiple values. So instead of hard coding this like this one, we can pass this map. Okay. Now, now I pass this header map. So if you see these headers, right? So this headers again overloaded method, and you can see it takes a parameterized map, right? So this second overloaded method I'm using here, where I'm passing a header map. Okay. So like RaceSO is providing different method, different overloaded method to do the same thing in multiple ways. Okay, there's nothing like that. Whatever you feel convenient to you, you can use that method. Okay, let's go and see the last overloaded method. Okay, So here we are creating a map, right? Here we are creating a map, but here we can do another thing. So if you see this headers here, headers method, we see headers, right? Can you see headers here? And here in the second example, we see the header. Okay. So when you have single header, then you need to use header class. Okay. When you have multiple, then you need to use headers. Okay. Before that, let me create an instance of headers. Okay. So headers is again one class, and let me put the headers. Okay. And new headers. Okay. And you can see here, these headers, we have multiple uh, overloaded constructor, right? So here, what you can do, you can what you can do, you can create a list of header, okay, and then you can add it. Okay, you can pass that one as well. Okay, mean suppose what I'll do, I will copy this one. I will copy this one here and let me paste it here. Okay, and if you see this one, this particular constructor of headers class, it takes one header, right? Type of header. So what you can do, you can pass like this one header. Okay, and instead of passing the map and all, okay, you can pass its headers. Okay, sorry, this one. So it's nothing, it's the same thing we are achieving in different ways. Okay, so if I run it now, it will also add the headers for you. Okay, we can see header one, value one, right? So here, if you see this headers constructor, it's overloaded and you can create a list of header, right? We can get list of string or list of integer. Similarly, you can create a list of header, okay? And then you can add whatever header you're creating, that you header you can add to the list, and you can pass that list directly to this headers constructor. Okay, just to show you again, suppose I have a list of header. Okay, all headers, new new array list. Okay, so let me import this one. Let me import this one. What you can do, instead of passing it here, what you can do, you can add all headers dot add. Okay, header. Okay, so similarly you can create multiple header class object to pass multiple headers. Okay, and you can pass it here. All headers dot add header one, right? And you can see this headers class has a overloaded constructor which accepts the list of header, right? So we'll pass all headers here. Okay, so we should see it is adding the headers, right? So we have different ways, but we have mainly two methods only, header and headers. Okay, and those are the methods to do, and we have two classes called header and headers. Okay, so I hope this is just to practice more, and whatever you feel that it is easy and comfortable for you to use, you can use it. There's nothing like you should not use this or that. Okay, but this also provides you a lot of methods to do the same thing in multiple ways and in meaningful ways. Okay, but generally what I suggest you, that always go for the map, because that is the simple way and you'll not confuse much also, and you can use it easily. Okay, compared to this and this header and headers. Okay, Don't go for that because that will be confusing for you. Map anyway you are using multiple times for other scenarios as well, so you can easily go and fetch the header value. You can update the header value. You can remove some header if you want to do. So those are things you can do easily. Okay, so it will be always good to use the map. And in next video I will show you that suppose when I'm passing the same key, right? So it is merging the values, right? I want that no, it should not merge. It should override the value. Okay. So mean suppose whenever you have multiple request specification, right? In that multiple request specification, you are passing to same request. Then for some headers, you want that value should be overwritten. Value should not be merged. Okay. So because I have got this question in my previous videos, like can we pass multiple request and response specification to same request? Yes, answer yes, we can do, but we need to be very careful for that. Okay, because the problem will happen when we have matching specifications. Okay, so that time you will have problems. Okay, so I will in the next video I will show you that how can we override this behavior, like whenever we are passing duplicate key, it should not merge, it should be overwritten. Okay, so that we'll see next video. If you have any doubt, any comment, any feedback, any suggestion, you can always give. I'm open to those things. Okay, so thank you everyone, we'll meet soon.